Hey, what's up, and welcome to this Oura Ring Review 2020. The Oura Ring is supposed to be this amazing wearable tech that provides us with biometric data that is going to help transform our lives. But is it worth the $300 price tag? That's the magic question. I haven't bought an Oura Ring, and it is a steep price, so we sat down with my buddy JJ, who's been a long-term Oura Ring user, and we go into all of the questions that you want answered, that I wanted answered, and beyond that. So we have a lot of great information here. It is a little bit longer of an interview, so if you don't have time to watch all of it, make sure you bookmark the video. There's also a table of contents to help you find what you're looking for a little bit quicker, so very valuable. Make sure that you do bookmark it for later use. Now we go into all the details about heart rate variability, of the sleep tracking, about his multiple use of Fitbits and how they compare to the Oura Ring. Are they the same, worse? Is there one feature that's better than the other, etc.? He goes into what he would like improved upon, what he would add into the Oura Ring 3. And we go into the actual app itself, into his personal data, which is amazing. If you have this ring that gives you all this biometric data, but it isn't presented well and it doesn't interface in an app that gives you meaningful data in a good graphical user interface, then you may not want to use it. So this is really helpful to both see the interface in the app, but also to see the information that's presented and how it can actually help you make better choices and give you information on how to more objectively optimize yourself. That's what we're trying to do here, right? So I think you're going to really enjoy the interview. I had a lot of fun sitting down with JJ, so I hope you enjoy. All right, I'm here with my friend JJ, and we're gonna go over the Oura Ring. I had some questions. He has an Oura Ring I've been interested in. I haven't been able to pull the trigger, so he's gonna help answer some questions that I have and that I bet a lot of you have. So we'll get right into it. JJ, any opening words?
Hey all, thank you Scott for having me at your show. My name is JJRuescas. I am a DevOps Evangelist and also a Biohacker in training. And that's the reason I'm playing around with this kind of cool stuff that we have today, right? So today, Oura Ring.
Oura Ring, biohacking, all the good stuff. So first of all, when did you first hear about the Oura Ring?
I heard about the Oura Ring about almost 2 years ago, I should say, maybe a little bit more than that. And I've been always interested in getting metrics out of my body, right? That's the reason we have this kind of tools like the Fitbit or the Apple Watch or anything that is tracking our vital signs at some point. And they worked fine, the initial versions. Actually, if you find out this community called Quantitative Self, have you heard about QS?
Yeah.
So did
it start in San Francisco?
They started in San
all over the
Francisco.
place.
Yeah. So once I was researching other tools to track usually activity and sleep, I found very interesting to find that the Oura Ring at that time was beginning its adventure in the market, and at that time it had already I think almost a couple of years in the market.
Nice.
So I said, let's first research. Let's not pull the trigger immediately.
That is exactly how I do things. I probably over-research things. How long did you research it?
At that time I was studying how to improve my sleep. So while I was doing that, obviously the Fitbit and later some apps that you can put next to your bed that is going to track the movement and stuff like that. And while I was doing comparisons of data and accuracy of those tools, that's when I started researching that, and I did it for a couple of weeks. And funny story, I bought this thing, and then months passed by, and I started getting more and more into biohacking, and I attend to some small conferences of biohackers. And that's actually one of my good friends introduced me to the guy that later became my biohacker mentor. And first thing that we do is, hey, how are you doing? And we see each other's hand, it's like, hey, you got one. So it's a funny thing.
Nice.
And, but that's
like a brotherhood.
It is because now we know that this thing is way more accurate than the wristbands because it's closer to the veins that we have here, and it's not that it's not so loose. So that's the reason I liked it that much. After, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks that I did the research.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about things. You probably did some research on that, like a Fitbit versus like the Ring, and there seems to be a better accuracy as far as temperature and pulse and all that kind of thing. So
Temperature, pulse, and the one that I was more interested into, sleep.
sleep. So even sleep, it's more accurate.
Yeah, that is more accurate. And I have compared this ring not only with the Fitbit, but also I tried several Fitbits at a time and several apps at a time.
Oh, really? Okay.
to get a comparison.
And this far outperforms the Fitbit.
Yeah, in several areas for sure. Obviously, I cannot here click on my timer or workout. Obviously, it will be super nice. Like, okay, ring. Right?
Maybe that's an Oura Ring 3.
Probably, who knows? So that's the reason I have this too. Sometimes what it happens is that no technology is completely accurate. There's going to be some drift or even some problem, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes I will have, let's say, and this happened to me as well with the Fitbit. I had the app and the score of the night was kind of odd and I felt good, but the app said that I didn't sleep very well. So once I had this other one, that's when I started realizing that, oh yeah, it's because it didn't happen on battery, or likewise in the other, on the flip side, right? It may happen. So in my case, I use 2 devices, but mostly for sleep and activity, the Oura Ring is my go-to.
What were you kind of, I mean, I guess you used the Fitbit, you looked into this. What were kind of some of the things that you were hopeful about that this seemed different than these other devices, and basically what was your hope for it? What did you think it was going to do for you, and did it kind of deliver on those?
As I mentioned, I was at that time more focused on optimizing my sleep. And yeah, Fitbit and the apps on the phone provide some insight. And what really motivated me to do this, because pause there or parenthesis, what it happened is that I have never worn a ring. I said, what? Not even if I get married, I don't even plan to wear a ring. That was the plan. And then I said, let's give it a try. So something that I really liked is that they send you, before sending you the actual ring, they send you a set of plastic rings, so that you can try them.
To size it, right?
Correct. And then I said, it looks cool. And someone else told me, hey, your hands look, what's that thing? Or they didn't even know what kind of ring was it. But they said, that's so cool, and how you look, how your hands get some kind of different perspective. That was funny. But the point is that the sleep accuracy was way better, and the temperature was way better tracked that with the Fitbit. And obviously we don't know if we don't try it. So in my case, it was a risk, like, yeah, should I buy something like this or not? And then I went for it, completely sold on it after I got it. So
nice. Yeah, I've heard people they'll say, hey, are you married? And they'll think that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks sharp. That's what I would be concerned about. How do you have a ring that looks good and actually has all this ability to track this much data? So I think they did a really good job as far as being able to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's surprising.
What this thing has is that the sensors are down here, right? So that's tracking, and on top of that, they put a really nice ring on it. But this is a normal tracker. So I like the simplicity of the design and the device itself. And as you said, no one really knows that this is a tracking ring.
It's your biohacking device.
Right.
Kind of That's awesome.
They don't know.
Very discreet.
Recording them. Oh, that's a different.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's what they need to do. Record all your conversations in the ring. Another question. So first of all, it's probably been about maybe close to a year, but we were boating. We're water skiing and wakeboarding, and you almost lost the ring. And you were freaked out that all your data would be lost. Well, I guess it's all in the app.
Yeah, it's in the cloud now.
When are some times that you find that you can't wear it, that you have to take it off, and is that a problem?
Sometimes if you are, for example, going to be in I don't know, something that, if you wash your hands with soap, it's gonna get slippery, for sure. Obviously it depends on what finger you wear it on, because we have different sizes for it, and obviously your fingers are not all the same fat, let's put it this way, right? So in that case, when we were in that adventure, I recall that because of the water, and we were literally swimming, it was getting slippery. So I said, well, let's save it for later. But the other opportunity is when I was doing an Ayurvedic diet. Did I tell you about that?
A little bit.
I lost around 8 kilograms in pounds. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So
it's like 16 to 20 pounds.
Yes. And that was part of an experiment, right? That was part of an experiment that I was doing on Ayurvedic diet, and my fingers got thinner. So I could feel how this thing was a little bit loose. I said, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so don't fluctuate with your weight, or you might have some problems keeping it
off. Not heavily.
Or not being able to take it off if you gain weight, I guess.
Yeah, so true. But even if it happens, what is nice is that actually you can place it in another one, and that's okay. So the nice thing, as we said, they send you the plastic ones, is that you feel which one fits better for you. But in case something is not fine, then you change fingers, and that's it.
Now, I was wondering if you had heard of this. I read a few reviews from people. One person in particular, that they lost their ring, they got a new one, and they noticed that there was quite a change in, I think their sleep tracking. But they noticed, like, okay, so this is way different. Obviously, there's a difference between my old ring and the new ring, but they did notice that it was still consistent. So over time, it gave consistent results. So I guess, what would you call it? Relatively, it was still good for tracking. But have you heard about any differences between rings, like problems with them being uniform across, I don't know,
maybe between all the versions. Honestly, I have had this single ring, so I haven't upgraded the hardware itself. Mm-hmm. The software keeps continuously being updated, but I haven't changed. Maybe that could be the reason. If that person had a version 1 of the ring and then it changed to it, or they send it a version 2, there may be obviously results. And that happens even with Fitbits and everything, right? Mm. With every new version, the hardware gets updated, it gets more accurate, and thus that may lead to that kind of results.
What would you want to be improved upon? Is there anything that you think they could improve on?
On the ring itself? So far I'm very happy with it, but obviously I'm seeing it from a satisfied biohacker perspective at this moment. But I would like to, in the future, if possible, to improve the temperature tracking, let's say. I would say that, to give you more insight on temperature patterns. I would like that. That's something that they don't have yet. And I'm very happy with HRV, with resting heart rate as well. Yes, I know which feature would be super nice, and it is, you have reminders when you need to stretch out, to move a bit. You're gonna have a notification, but it would be way nicer if it tracks when your heartbeat is getting on a pattern that reflects that you're getting angry, that you're getting stressed out.
Like, hey, calm down, man.
Yeah, immediately, hey, slow down, just breathe. You recall those breathing exercises? Now is the time. So that would be super nice. I was taking a look at that, if it's possible. And I recall that with the Fitbit, with not this version, but with another version, you could create your own automation, so that whenever the Fitbit has or identifies a similar pattern, it will send you a notification. I don't recall I've seen something like that in the Oura Ring, and that is called SDK, or Software Developer Kit. Usually companies like this, they will have those SDKs open so that you can extract your own information and create your own apps. That's something that this thing is not providing, right?
Right. Oh, I heard that UCSF was actually looking into using the temperature as a checking for this COVID-19, potentially getting sick, or whatever, as a tracking mechanism. Do you like that idea? Did you hear about that type of research?
Actually, I am. part of the research.
You are?
Every day I track my temperature and if I had any symptoms over the last 24 hours, and I will submit my request. It's super simple survey, right? And man, I'm a guinea pig, so part of the protocol will be a human guinea pig. So I said, yeah, for sure. I opted for the University of California survey and study that they are doing, because I do believe that through this kind of technology we can help more people, right? The quicker that we can gather information and actually, obviously in a private or a very data-cared approach, that we are not displaying too much information of people, but at the same time we're extracting possible data that could help with COVID or other kind of diseases, and why not? So.
Well, did they just kind of send a blanket email out to all Oura Ring users and ask if they wanted to participate, or like how did that work? Okay.
It was
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Very open email, and you opt in or opt out. In my case, opt in.
Cool. Now, so you have the first Oura Ring. Have you wanted to get the second one? Have you found that there's like that much of an upgrade to kind of go to that second one, or what do you think of that?
Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna get it maybe during this year. Let's see. I usually give it a time to my devices. Not that I jump onto the next version immediately. I'm not that much of a early adopter in that sense.
Early adopter, that was the word I was thinking of. Yeah.
Right. So they are obviously safe. It's not that something's gonna happen to you with one of those versions, but I prefer to wait a little bit more to see if there is some improvement that they have realized, that the earlier adopters have realized that they can take advantage of in that kind of situations. In other ones, I will go first get it, but in this case, I'm okay.
Yeah. So if you were to be a part of the Oura team and you were a part of implementing design and features, what we kind of mentioned a few already, kind of being facetious, but what would be some things that you would want to implement into Oura Ring 3?
Wow. I would say more habit nudging features, mostly in the app, right? But that's in combination with the ring, with the device in this case. Because as we mentioned, right, maybe if something triggers you and you don't realize that you're getting into fight or flight, very nice to have something that nudges you into relaxing. And there are devices that do that thing already. I have a couple of them in my head. One of them is called Shock, if I'm not wrong. That really sends you an electrical micro shock. So you're right. That's very Pavlovian, I would say.
It has like a dog with getting too close to the fence and it shocked in the neck. Like, okay, don't do that.
So in this case, it would be nice to have the ring that kind of feature, but depending on my own habits. It would be nice, let's say, based on location, that it nudges you into some habit that you want to inject into yourself. Because we're getting more and more into this pattern of coding habits into our own mindsets, right? That's the reason we get nudged with notifications from any social media app or any kind of email notification. That's creating a loop in our brains that is imprinting a habit. Well, we can actually take advantage of our own tools, of our own toys, technological toys, to redefine that for ourselves. So that will be one of the tools.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, self-awareness is so important. This kind of biohacking and tracking brings a whole other level of self-awareness, and knowing something, technology telling you like, hey, your heart rate is escalating, you probably need to calm down. I think that's really just the awareness and the ability to change things kind of starts changing behavior and your ability to look at yourself a little bit more objectively. So have you noticed big changes as far as the way that you think about your health?
I liked what you mentioned, to look at ourselves in a more objectively way. I like that a lot, because with this kind of tools, what I personally do is I look at myself as an experiment, right? And I see the data. And many times I've seen people that they get hung up on I didn't sleep well because the app tells me that I didn't sleep well, right? And then, this is gonna be a bad day or whatever. But we have to learn through the tools to trust our own bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only trusting the tools and the data that is presented, but actually tuning in and, yeah, that's true, or, oh, that's how I feel, that's how my body feels when it's properly recovered. Nice, right?
Yeah.
And then you go and check the data, and if there's a correlation, then you're like, oh, yeah, I'm backing up my own perception of the body. So I'm learning more about myself. That's an objective way at some point.
I like that.
What I'm using it for these days, obviously what I've been tracking for most of the time that I have the ring is sleep patterns. I'm very, very into sleeping because dreaming is very important for me. If something that I can dream means that it's something that I can probably create in real life.
Nice.
So that's the reason dreaming, obviously part of the sleep process that we have, is so important for me. And thus I have been researching in this very curious way for years, finding people like Dr. Michael Bruce, for example, Dr. His name gets out of my mind, but a few other celebrities that have been publishing books around sleeping. So I'm more into the sleeping part. Now, that also helped me to understand that the active part of our days, how much movement we get during the day, is a great factor to probably predict how good are we going to sleep that night. So in this case, and I was telling you, when I was traveling in South America, I was not driving for months, and you can see the stats of my activity just super high during the day, right?
Yeah.
And then I came back to the US, to Texas, and they shrank basically to sitting down and just working out and walking a little bit, but working a lot. So
American sedentary way of life.
yeah, sedentary, from nomadic to sedentary like this, and vice versa. That's what it's going to happen. So that's one of the things around that.
Cool. You want to show me some of the stuff on the app? And
yeah, sure. So let's go check out my Oura Ring here, and you can see how. Let's take a look at one of these ones. For example, we have in the home screen, actually, let's say May 24th, Sunday, Readiness 92 is the score. Readiness is the combination between how active were you the day before and the sleep quality that you have. So that's every day what you will get. And you can see here a quick view of your sleep, your activity progress if you have a goal for being active, or staying active, I mean. And the activity is how much time you slept, or what time did you go to sleep. In this case, my best time to go to sleep, according to my own body and how I'm learning about how it works better. How
there's a sleep chronotype, I think?
Yeah, my sleep chronotype is actually a bear. If you have read The Power of When is the book by Dr. Michael Bruce. So in my case, I go to sleep better when I sleep around 8 hours and 30 minutes to 9 hours. That's perfect time. That's perfect amount of sleep for me. So in this case, we have the bedtime here. So let's get into the readiness. And readiness, we have what is the resting heart rate and the heart rate variability, and those ones are displayed here in the top part. You can see the circle and the bar. And then we have the body temperature. I usually tend to sleep at this temperature. My body.
You have a crazy low resting heart rate.
Yeah, and you haven't seen it when I am doing the breathwork.
The Wim Hof.
Yes, it's even lower.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So respiratory rate, I think I can even get a lower respiratory rate, but I have some problems with oxygen at night. So it's not a sleep apnea, but yeah.
They say that the amount of life that you have is in the amount of breaths you have. So if you have less breaths, I imagine you could live longer. So maybe you're on track.
Actually, that's impressive. In this book that I just finished reading from Dr. Andrew Weil, he talks about how some Muslim religions, they think, or sub-religions, they think or they believe that Allah gave you or gave each one of us a specific number of breaths.
Finite amount of breaths.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a very good incentive to slow breathe. Right. So I will go with that every day, hands down. So we have here
and then the importance of heart rate variability. So maybe if people don't know this, I don't know if you know much more about it. I just have heard that. So your heart rate can kind of fluctuate in a certain time period, and the healthier people and more active people have a greater heart rate variability. Is that what you understand?
That is it. Because what it happens is that, let's say that you have a steady heart rate variability, and it's a peak one. That means that you're under stress constantly. That is the sympathetic system just firing and firing and firing, not giving it a chance to just cool down and relax. It would be nice if it's steady but low. No, but usually in our modern life it is steady and high. So that means that if you have a heart rate variability that it fluctuates, that means that you're giving your body, your heart, time to recover.
Makes sense.
That is one of the metrics during sleep time.
Cool.
So we have the resting heart rate, as we mentioned, HRV balance, some recovery index, and even you can go check if you don't know what is each one of these ones, the description of what is it. And let's go back here, and we have here the metrics of the HRV, obviously, and the resting heart rate. Oura recommends that you try to get into a stable sleep pattern so that you tend towards something that they call the hammock. Hammock resting heart rate, which starts higher, it decreases along the half night, and then it goes up again when you're about to wake up. So they say that based on their studies, that is the recommended one.
Interesting.
And it's not that suddenly you will do it like this, but it's over time as you're training your body to learn how to recover itself better, that you start getting that kind of rhythm.
Nice. So basically, if you have like a healthy circadian rhythm and you got a sleep hygiene, some type of routine, then over time you're going to naturally have this hammock.
Correct.
Okay.
And even if you don't know what this means, for example, you can click here, you will see your stats and information. And even if you go to heart rate or more information about it, it takes you to the Oura Ring page. And here you can see exactly what I was telling you, the hack.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let's go back. Now that is readiness. Let's go into sleep. And obviously, as we talked about it, activity during the day and sleep overnight, they are inexorably together. We cannot just split them up. And in this case, we have the total sleep time, 7 hours, 50 minutes. As you can see, time in bed, 8:32, which gave me a sleep efficiency of 92%. That means that, yeah, it's pretty cool. It doesn't mean that we will reach 100% efficiency. That means basically that you would, as soon as your head touches the pillow, boom, immediately as soon as
basically unconscious and then straight out. Yeah.
That's it. That's not how it works. Right?
92% seems like pretty high. That's pretty efficient. I would say.
Correct. Anything about 85 is pretty good. And you have here similar sleep metrics. Efficiency, restfulness, and the important part are REM and deep sleep. And you have here the percentages. If you are able to make between 45-50% between both of them, that means a good night of sleep. And here you can see the sleep stages. Now,
cool.
Something that I was telling you, Scott, in this collapsible frame, is that they just added that one a couple of weeks ago to the app. So once you expand that collapsible frame, you can see actually your awake, REM, light and deep percentages, but also you can see the movement if there is any movement at night. Sometimes we wake up in this thing called micro awakenings, that's what they are called, but we don't remember that. And obviously, since we don't remember that, we don't know how much we spend in those micro awakenings. So you can see, for example, if I go through to Thursday, May 21st, you can see how around 4 a.m. I woke up. Right? So that gives you a different perspective of what's happening at night when you are semi-conscious. Finally, we have the resting heart rate and the average and the lowest, and finally, you have activity. And as I mentioned, months ago, I was traveling in South America, and you can see here how how active my life was. And you can see even in daily movement down here, the times that you were more active. In my case, this one 8 a.m. That means probably I went to work out, most likely. And then later around 8 p.m. I went for a walk. And you can see how those ones are, definitely very active days. And the more that I go to February and later March, you will see this drop now.
Back to the States.
Back to the States. Obviously, we have to learn how to inspire ourselves to move our bodies. So something that obviously the Oura Ring is not gonna catch is yoga. For example, I'm working
I heard about that, yeah.
most of the time in the computer, but every 30 minutes, every 40 minutes, I will wake up and I'll do stretches. So that's something that no tracker can get at this moment. Right?
Yeah.
So that's not reflected here. Now, one of the last things that I wanted to show you. Oh, by the way,
we have to show the Wim Hof
right.
area, like how your data changed quite dramatically with doing the Wim Hof breathing and that type of thing.
That's a good idea. So let's take a look at, first let's talk about what is Wim Hof Method. For people that they don't know what's Wim Hof Method, it is a type of breath work that you do to reset several parts within your immune system, how your body is consuming oxygen, the oxygen saturation level, your lungs capacity, all of that gets reset because of these exercises. And it's not that it happens like this. It happens over time. I'm right now in week 7 out of 10 weeks of the Wim Hof Fundamentals program. So I was curious to see how it affected my sleep patterns, my breath work, and one of the things that I found interesting in Oura is that actually there is this plus sign here. Let's go here to, let me go to today. I'll show you that. There you go. So today you can have different, you can add tags, you can add workout. For example, if you had a workout here, you have several types of workouts that will help the algorithms within Oura to do a better assessment of the activity that you had. In my case, I didn't need this thing. What I needed is something called Take a Moment. And this one has 3 different exercises: presence, rest, and body status. Presence and rest are basically any type of meditation that you will find anywhere. The one that I picked is actually body status, or check body status. In this case, I set it to silence. I don't want any fancy sounds, nothing. I don't want anything interfering with my practice. And likewise, I set this...
Nothing while you're Wim Hofing.
Yeah, while I'm hopping, that's it all. That's the soundtrack. So in my case, I did an open-ended session. You can set this if, for example, you're starting with a meditation practice or simply consciousness practice, just trying to be present. You can set a timer and it's going to let you know. And you can see here how with 1 minute, it will only give you your heart rate as a metric. If you start increasing the time, you'll have the heart rate and the HRV. That's very nice. And now if you go beyond, if you go beyond 10 minutes apparently, or 5 minutes, you're gonna have the skin temperature. That's brand new, they didn't have it before. In my case, I'm using the open-ended session. So once you hit start here, it's gonna start tracking. Right. So let me show you just how this starts. I'm gonna stop it obviously. And 3, 2, 1. So it starts tracking, and that's pretty simple, right? So in this session, that's it. Now let me show you some metrics.
So through that, you get a little bit more detailed snapshot of what you're doing during that time period, right?
Yeah. So I'll delete this one and let me go check previous status of the practice. Let's say this one, here it is one. So resting, it's called rest here, and this is actually body status, my bad. Body status. And it was 22 minutes, I started at 8:13. And you can see how sometimes, this one, for example, I know that this one had an excessive hand movement because I was doing a push-up as well, so breathwork with push-up. let's try to find another one that is a better example. And here you can see a history, session history. That's very cool. And let's take this one. You can see how this breathwork session took 26 minutes, starting at 8:23, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds of huffing. That's what it's called. Breathwork.
People call it that.
Yeah, that's very
or
cool.
Wim Hofing.
Wim Hof. So you can see how it went even to 43 beats per minute, and the nighttime baseline is 44. So at that point I went 1 unit lower than when I was sleeping, and in this case,
wow.
in this case I went to 79 milliseconds heart rate variability metrics, and nighttime I went that night at 61. So it increased.
So it's better while you're actually conscious. That's crazy.
It was better, yes. And you can see how the variation is all over the place. That's unbelievable. And the latest thing that they added is the skin temperature. Obviously, this is the skin. This is not full body temperature. So the skin temperature, you can see how it started raising as long as I was practicing it, and it kept steady until the end of the practice. And finally, I said, oh yeah, I felt better than usual after the practice, and that helps you to actually keep track of that, because it's similarly to, it works similarly to a mood tracker.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Anything else that you want to see in there?
No, I think.
Yeah, and it tells you. Oh, by the way, something that I like also from Oura is that you can see it online, not only in the app. So in the cloud,
nice.
you can see.
Sometimes I like to see things on the desktop.
Especially if you're biohacking your body, you definitely want to have that in several dashboards.
Yes.
Right, and you can see the trends here. By the way, I forgot to mention that. So bedtime, you can see my trend over the last months here, and it's pretty consistent. I personally, I don't oversleep over weekends or nothing. It's very, very consistent. And obviously, if I feel lethargic, let's say around 3-4 p.m., I will take a 15 to 20 minute power nap. I'm ready to go, and that's also tracked by the app. I don't need to track it. It will tell you rest. Yeah, that's the one that we found before. So yeah, and you can add your tags here, and yeah, this is weekly, and this is monthly. You can see here. This is partying in South America, and this is going back to normal. Yeah, so readiness and activity. So monthly, likewise, as I mentioned, this is activity in South America. This is digital nomad lifestyle, and this is going back to the evenings. So I like to see this kind of trends.
Did you notice? I mean, you probably somewhat were aware of that, but does this kind of bring a greater awareness to how much difference there is between like when you're over in Bolivia or South America versus here? Did it kind of illustrate it in a more powerful way to you than you would have just thought on your own? Or?
It really highlighted it, definitely. It's when I'm traveling, as I told you, Scott, I'm 50%, 70% of the year in Austin. And it's not that I'm just sitting rotting my body in front of a laptop. No, I do plenty of stuff.
Yeah.
And when I'm traveling, that is less computer time and more active time, right? Discovering places, going into nature or whatever. So that get accentuated with the information that I have from the tool.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, this has been extremely helpful for me. I've been wondering about all these different type of questions, and actually seeing the app and what's in there was really helpful. So hopefully this was good for everyone else as well. If you have any questions or comments between me and JJ, I can kind of reference back to JJ and answer some questions if you want to leave those in the comments below. But and if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Now, JJ, where you are all over the internet, you're doing all kinds of amazing things. Where can people find you? What kind of work can they look for you?
Well, these days, as I mentioned, I am a technology advocate, but it's not only to go play with fancy tools, tech tools like this, right? It is how we use these tools to actually improve this organic machinery. And you can find me these days in JJRuescas.blog, that is JJRuescas.blog. And obviously same name on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, and on my fan page on Facebook, I mean. And thank you, Scott. I really appreciate the opportunity, and learning from you as well is very inspiring. So if anyone is eager to keep the conversation online, please subscribe to Scott's channel or just hit me up on my social media.
Cool, thanks JJ. And I'll leave all those links to JJ and the things that he's doing down in the description below. Once again, thanks for watching this video. And until the next video, take care, to your health.
See ya. Nice, man. Oh.
I feel like our handshake.